Star Wars Outlaws actually pleasantly surprised me. I think I speak for most people that when we saw the previews and the gameplay and stuff like that, we kind of wondered like, okay, so what are we looking at exactly? I think that in some ways the previews didn't do the game a whole lot of justice, but at the same time also did. Allow me to explain. I probably should start off by telling everyone what they probably already know. The Ubisoft checklist.
And he'll give me work. Got it.
Shoulder always hurts before a race.
Get ready, Nix.
With a leader like Korakis,
it is good to be a pike.
Becoming our strongest territory.
And with that Ubisoft checklist done, we can get into my impressions of the game after about 4 hours of playing. I've made it off the first planet, so I can't really tell you anything about the other planets of the game. The game is being reviewed on PC, and I'm happy to report that on maxed out settings with a 4090 and a 5950X CPU, it was running on 120 FPS consistently, and in the open world I was getting 60 to 80 FPS very stably. Didn't see any noticeable heavy dips down or anything like that. The game was very stable and also felt good to play. Probably my favorite thing about the game is the music. It definitely is something that they've done a really good job at. It definitely has the Star Wars vibe that you would come to expect. There's multiple ways of how you can do missions, for example, that I'm going to show now. So they could have taken the elevator by giving someone 150 credits, go for the VIP pass and give them 50 credits, or just simply go around without paying a single dime. It is not the only time that this has happened, and there is plenty of ways of how you can approach a mission if you decide to do so, which is pretty nice. Some missions will force stealth upon you. How you feel about that is going to be your personal opinion. Personally, I like it, but also I'm not super huge on stealth. I like having the option of going loud, mainly because I'm a bit impatient, but you can still use melee takedowns if you choose to do so. Speaking of going loud, the guns do feel like they pack a punch, and I do quite like the pistol that we have. When reloading, you are being faced with a quick time event, which I wasn't super huge on myself, but you can disable this, so you never really have to focus on like always going for the quick time event, and the game can do it for yourself, which is pretty nice. There's plenty more options like that in the game to kind of customize it how you want to have your experience, because the combat can kind of feel like you really have to be on your toes and not just run out in the open like you could in the Far Cry game, for example. Shots in this game will hurt, so you might want to utilize a bit more cover here and there, or if you just simply want to walk around with like a headless chicken, then I guess those options in the menu will be there for you as well. The game also features 3 different factions, each with their own reputation attached to them, and rewards of course for when you are getting more and more closer to that excellent status. The opposite can also of course have more detrimental things happening to you, such as getting higher prices in stores, all the way ranging to not being allowed in certain areas. Whereas on the flip side, if you have good reputations for example Crimson Dawn, you can go into the areas without any questions, and you can also get some exclusive items and discounts at certain stores. This all ties into the choices that the game will give you as well throughout the game. Sometimes you're being asked, hey, am I going to tell this person the truth, or am I going to withhold this information and then bring that to the other faction that will benefit that, and then also of course benefit you. Is that a good balance? Obviously, if you get caught in certain areas for certain factions and you are spotted, you will lose a reputation for the respective faction. It is interesting, and it makes the game have a bit more of a higher stake, which I did enjoy. The world itself is quite nice too, especially the cities. They feel like they actually have some life in them. The open world planet that I've played on so far, a lot of desert, but you know, every once in a while you see like a little settlement or an outpost like you would, and generally speaking I didn't really feel like it was very dead. Like there's, you know, some life to it, and obviously with fast travel being a thing, some people might choose to completely skip that altogether. The space combat that I've played so far, which was pretty brief, but it did feel good to play. You know, I think it will take a little bit of getting used to, especially with being used to control a vehicle with the, you know, A and D, but you know, you have to use your mouse for that instead, but overall it felt pretty decent. The photo mode, I kind of want to make a mention of because it allowed me to easily make this thumbnail of this video, and I know there's at least going to be a few of you who will enjoy this photo mode because it's pretty nice and in depth. It is not super basic, you can do plenty of things with it, so you know, have a look for yourself and make some nice pictures of the game if you choose to do so. Fetch is also pretty useful. It can pick up unreachable items, help with enemies, and just a heap of other stuff, and I think it's just a nice addition. It doesn't really feel like it's forced upon you, but it's a nice to have. It doesn't really feel like the game is forcing you to always use him for literally everything. It feels optional but useful. As for the cons in the game, obviously the faces yet again. I don't really see why Ubisoft has not decided to make any improvements to the engine or whatever it is that is causing this, because we are in 2024 and we are still having these emotionless faces, and sometimes even going as far as an emotionless voice delivery as well. It really doesn't help with getting the point across and like really giving that impression that the main character is really meaning what they are saying.
Wait! Nobody move. You either pay me now, or just pay me.
I'm also not entirely sure if the voice of Kay fits the vibe. Maybe it's the direction that it was given when it was recorded, but I feel like that when she's being sassy or a joke is being told, it doesn't really land and it's rather awkward. The emotion sometimes kind of lacks, and I can't really tell the difference between her being sassy, making a joke, or being angry at someone or trying to threaten someone, which is probably kind of a bit of an issue. It sometimes feels rather flat. And I feel that, you know, with certain ways of saying certain things, it would help deliver and make the character feel a bit more with emotion, if you will. And then obviously, if you add on top of the fact that the faces themselves have like, you know, two parts moving, that being the eyes and the mouth, you have to wonder, okay, you know, like, are we still doing this in 2024? Overall though, I'd say it's one of those, you know, decent 7 out of 10 type of games that feels overall pretty fun to play. It's not gonna blow you away, it's not gonna reinvent the wheel, but it is a fun Star Wars game with everything that you would expect from said Star Wars game. It has your stormtroopers, it has your dubious characters, and it has your laser beam shooting guns with all the sound effects that you come to expect from it. Is it something that is worth picking up for full price on day one or even the early access edition? I wouldn't really feel comfortable going out of my way of saying like you must get this. You know, it's one of those games that I would say it's worth checking out, at least for what I've played so far, and the story seems pretty interesting. That's one thing I probably should have mentioned as well. I'm interested enough in the story still. I'm enjoying the game still after like about 4 hours of playing, and I'm curious to see what the game is going to head into. There seems to be enough variety in things to do. Like I said, the world, there's like enough things to go around with and, you know, explore, if you will. Exploration seems to be a pretty big thing too, which is nice. Like, you know, going to certain areas and finding like a vault key or anything like that. There's definitely a reason to kind of go out of your way and picking things up. So in general, it's a pretty good game. I've been enjoying it so far, looking forward to checking it out some more. But for now, I will be playing the game on Twitch a bunch, so just check out my Twitch channel down below if you want to see some more gameplay of it or hear some more thoughts as I progress to the game even further. With that said, thank you for watching everyone. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you all later.